who I am as a black man and having to go through this life and deal with racism, bro, you better get the hell out of my face. I've never kissed ass. No one could ever put that statement on me. You know what I mean? And for him, you don't know me. You don't know me that well to speak on me like that.
Hey, guys. We're here to talk about Booker T and Swerve Strickland. Booker T recently on his podcast, Booker T Hall of Fame podcast, responded to Swerve Strickland's interview of what he said on Vlad TV, and Booker was not happy about that. But we'll see more of what Booker T has to say here at the locker room.
I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The tribal chief is head and shoulders above everybody.
Hey, guys. We're here at Toxic Ring Scandal, a.k.a. KDH. We're here to talk about Booker T class back at Swerve Strickland. Get the likes as we come into the locker room. Some more dirty laundry has come our way. We're going to talk about how Booker T went on his podcast, and he actually not only made a segment of his show on the podcast, he pretty much did almost majority of his live stream about it. Now, Booker T will say, we know he normally does not respond in this manner to something happening, but Booker T was very, very upset of how Swerve Strickland came at him, of how he said, questioned his judgment and everything as far as WWE and his placement in the business. Now, Booker T, we know that he's been with WWE pretty much since the merger of WCW when it was purchased by WWE back in 2001. Now, Swerve Strickland talked about, like I said in a previous video, about the situation, how he could be okay with Vince McMahon saying the N-word in front of him. And Booker T is going to talk more about that. He's also going to talk about, if you guys didn't know, that Booker T rolled up on Swerve. He confronted him man to man this past weekend. And he had some words with Swerve. He let him know how he felt. He talks about that as well. But this is getting crazy, though. How can this all started really from, like I did in previous videos, of how this all started from Swerve Strickland when he signed a brand new contract with AEW. And now it goes from that, from how he was, people, quote unquote, in WWE questioning how he was getting paid, all the way to this here. So we're going to play Booker T's podcast. He had quite to say about this whole situation, about Swerve Strickland here.
Who I am as a black man and having to go through this life and deal with racism, bro, you better get the hell out of my face. I've never kissed ass. No one could ever put that statement on me. You know what I mean? And for him, you don't know me. You don't know me that well to speak on me like that. And I just want to get that across to him and anybody else that think that way. You know what I mean? Because there again, him and I shouldn't be going back and forth at each other. And he shouldn't let someone put him and I back because he got a problem with the company. That's a statement right there. You just stepping into, that's a landmine. You just falling on for no reason. You're making noise for no reason. Because like I said, I know I've opened doors for people like Swerve Strickland. Just like that statement I said about him. I didn't have to say that. Why did I say it? I said it because I thought the guy was a damn good wrestler. But I don't have the book. But one thing I do know, cream rise to the top. If you're good as you think you are, throw everything in. I know that's what I did. All right. I could have sit on a contract when I came from WCW and made big money. But I say, no, I'm going to gamble on myself and go in, head first and see exactly how good I am. And the thing is, we talk about, I hear people like Swerve Strickland talk about, it's not a lot of black representation on the PLEs these days. Well, damn it, I didn't have to worry about that in my day. I was on all of them. I was on all the pay-per-views. All right. I was main eventing some of them as well. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about as far as that goes. Maybe it's a drop-off. as far as talent. Maybe guys need to work up to my level, okay? And really, really think about putting themselves in a position and say, hey, man, let's forget about, this black thing, and let's throw it all in and see how good we are. Let's do it the way I did it. All right? We ain't got to start nothing on social media or anything like that. Let's just see how good we are. Because I could have sank, all the way to the bottom in the WWE, just like so many others did. So many of them.
Well, I mean,
and more importantly, most of those guys were white guys. I'm just saying, it was about how talented, I was, and as far as he is, it's about how talented he is. It's about how talented every other black person that get what they get in this business. Don't just throw a tag on them because they're black. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And for him to speak on something like that and make it about that because he had a bad experience, bro. That's like painting there.
Now, before I play the rest of the video, Booker T did state that the whole issue with Swerve did mention in Vlad TV interview about blacks not represented PLEs or pay-per-views. Booker T did highlight that during his time, his era in WWE, when it was called pay-per-views, he was on the card of pay-per-views and he was on some of the main events. You saw it there. He was at Great American Bash, No Mercy, and he was, even when he was champion, of course, he was main eventing for some of the pay-per-views back then. So Booker T, I mean, he got a point that he did represent. He was on the card. It's not like he was off the card. But let's hear more what Booker T had to say about this whole thing here.
People want to hear about me clearing the air as far as Swerve Strickland, okay? And me personally, what's your thoughts?
I feel like for our audience, our radio audience and YouTube and podcast audience who might not have heard what is exactly going on, Swerve Strickland was interviewed on Vlad TV, and there was a clip that started floating around the internet. And Book, I mean, I think fair is fair. Putting it in context would be great. Can I play the clip?
Yeah.
Is that fine? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is Booker. This is the clip from Swerve Strickland's interview with Vlad TV. So it says Swerve responds.
For the company for a long time, and I know I've been treated fair for the last 20 years.
That's not what happened when Vince said the N-word in front of you. That's not being treated fair, my opinion. And to that statement, it's not even what I'm saying. I'm saying what people are saying. I'm saying what your audience is saying. So it's not just me just talking out of my ass out of nowhere. It's what your audience has been complaining about for the better part of like 2-3 years from not seeing black talent even getting single matches on PLEs and stuff like that. It's not.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's the clip. So he was referring to a time on the show where there was some questions about Swerve Strickland, and did AEW overpay for him? WWE thought they paid him over market value, and Swerve, I think, was on the Breakfast Club and was discussing his WWE run and lack thereof, and I believe you said something regarding I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. I'm black, so I'm just trying to understand if something happened to him personally. Maybe he should have thought he should have been a bigger star in the WWE. I hate we're still talking about this race thing. I've been working for the company for a long time, and I know I've been treated fairly for 20 years.
Verbatim,
so that was
verbatim. That's exactly what I said. And I don't think you're going to find anything in that statement right there negative towards Strickland.
Well, you know what? Let's give some more context.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me play some more context, because Swerve Strickland actually did make history in AEW as becoming the first black AEW champion. We discussed that on the show, and here was your reaction to that.
I'm a big fan of Swerve Strickland, man. I saw him in the airport, a couple of months ago, and him and I, we networked a little bit. But to see Swerve Strickland become the first black champion over in AEW is really, really, really awesome. I was listening to him talk just this morning how, Kofi Kingston just won it not too long ago, and now he's winning it. That just lets you know the generational gap. Like when I won it, and then it was so, like when Ron Simmons won it, and then it was so many years before another one won it, and then it was so many years before another one won it. This shows progress, in professional wrestling. So for me, I'm all down with Swerve Strickland being the world champion, not just because or anything from a showpiece perspective or anything like that. This dude is really that damn good inside the square circle. He deserves to be the world champion. I'm a big fan.
That was what you said regarding Swerve's world title win.
That's high praise right there. I mean, and you know what? I don't like. Like I said, I was at an event this weekend. I was at an event this weekend in Richmond, Virginia, and lo and behold, who was at the same event with me, actually as a part of the same party. It was literally the first person I run into the morning of the event. And just like Swerve Strickland said, me having the energy when Vince McMahon said the N-word, I rest assured I had the energy when I saw him, because I approached Swerve Strickland and I had a conversation with Swerve Strickland. Let's talk about the conversation in depth as far as what I told Swerve Strickland. I had an offer to be on Vlad TV before as well, and I turned it down. And they called me back and they offered me money to go on Vlad TV, and I turned it down because I was not going to go on Vlad TV and be exploited. I wasn't going to go on, on Vlad TV and him make me look like a fool in front of the world. I was not going to do that, and I wasn't going to go on Vlad TV and say anything negative towards any black man that's ever been in this business, because I know how hard it is for all of us. And I've been the first one to say any brother getting his bag, I'm all in. 100%. But I told Swerve Strickland to his face how disappointed I am in him as a young brother, because all I did for Swerve Strickland ever was put him over and put him on a pedestal as being one of the best out there that ever did it. He deserved being the AEW champion. And for him to say something like that about me, I don't know if these guys think racism stopped in 1990 when I got in the business, but it didn't. Okay, you may not hear about a lot of racial issues with Booker T, because I handled racial issues head first. I opened doors. I broke down barriers for people like Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland perhaps would not even be here if it wasn't for me. I have to apologize for nothing that I've done in this business, because I've gone out there and literally represented in the ring, out of the ring, from day one all the way to this day in 2025. Okay, you speak on Vince McMahon and him saying the N-word. You want me to be angry black man in the company. You want me to not open doors and make spaces for people like you. That's what you want me to do. Swerve Strickland, I hope you're never going to be in the movies. I hope you're never going to be on a movie set, because you might hear somebody say the N-word. And if you got a problem with it, they're going to tell your ass to get the hell out of here, because this is a movie, all right? And I'm upset. I'm upset because, more importantly, I'm disappointed at Swerve Strickland, because what I told him, and I'll repeat it, just like I repeated it to him, you got played. You got played, bro. You got played. You let that man play you and pit you against me and me against you. I don't know how many stories you ever heard about that on Vlad TV, but it's many of them. It's many stories out there about the black man against the black man, because Vlad is pitting them against each other. I don't know how many people you heard that's got locked up from the federal perspective about going on Vlad TV. I don't know what the hell you doing on Vlad TV, first of all. What have you done to be on Vlad TV, okay? That's just my opinion on that. And as far as Swerve Strickland, just like I say, and me having the energy, the veracity, I got all that, because I'm still 6'3" tall, 230 pounds of romping, stomping, and what I stand for as a man, as a black man. And I don't need anybody questioning that, especially if you haven't walked in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes, all right? Walk a mile in my shoes, Swerve Strickland. He talk about, growing up in Germany and having a mom and a dad. Walk a mile in my shoes. That's all I got to say about that. Walk a mile in my shoes, okay? Mom and dad. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Well, I mean, is it safe to say y'all didn't have any other interactions during the weekend?
No interactions
Okay.
at all. And you know what? We probably never will ever again, because I really, like I said, I'm really disappointed more than anything in him for starting something like this and having people ride it. And then when people ride it, they ride it the way they want it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they put the stuff in there that they want people to hear to make people get in on the story. I just want people to know that that's some, just like I told him, that's some bull, bro. That's some bull, because we shouldn't be having to talk about each other. You know what I mean? It's some bull. Seriously, we're in two totally different area codes. Seriously. And if that's something that really bugged him, why did he join WWE when he did? You know what I mean? He didn't have to join WWE. When he first started, he knew about that story then. I mean, come on. I just thought it was wrong. It was wrong in every sense of the word. Seriously. As much as I've done for people like him.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I mean, all I can say is what I've heard you say, and I've always heard you put, as you put in your words, Swerve on a pedestal.
I won't do it. I won't do it ever again.
Well, I can understand why.
Whether you care or not, I'd never do it again. And like I said, nobody paid me to put him over. I just always thought he was a good worker.
Well, I think the big lesson from this too is you've worked in the media for a long time, both as a media member and being a subject of a lot of media stories and interviews. And I think that you're always very cognizant of how you answer questions and how you position certain answers, especially when they're discussed with certain people. And this is like a behind the scenes thing, but I guess it's okay to say. But sometimes if I set up an interview for us, or we go and do something, I say, "Hey, Book, you want me to tell him anything you don't want to talk about?" You're like, "No, man, let him ask whatever. Like, I know how to answer questions." Right? That's what you always say. And to me, this is one of those statements to where, in the same thing you said about Swerve, hey, I don't know what his story was. Like, I mean, I don't know what happened to him in WWE. Perhaps he would have thought he should have been a bigger star. I don't know. I can just tell you from my perspective how I've been treated. He should have had the same energy. Been like, look, that's how Booker was treated. That's called? That's called
pivoting.
Yeah.
You got to know how to pivot. When some journalist is asking you a question, you really don't want to answer the question the way he posed it, so because people are always looking for clicks, and like I said, I hope he got paid for it, because like I said, they offered to pay me money when I was going to come on, but like I said, I turned it down. I turned it down because it wasn't worth me going on there and telling anybody else's story. That's one thing that I'm never going to do. Is go and tell somebody else's story, what somebody else, went through, this, that, whatnot. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. And the thing is, if I would have went on Vlad, him and I, we would have got into it. Because I would have been like, man, why the hell you asking me about somebody else? I thought we came on here to talk about me.
All right, DJ Vlad TV, he said he saw the video. He said that Booker T refused to do video with him. And Vlad TV said it's a lie. Now, Vlad TV did put this on social media of the messages between himself and Booker T back in 2020. Is Booker T agreeing to do the interview with Vlad TV? However, it did not happen. Even though Booker T agreed to do an interview with him, if you look through the messages here, I'm not going to read all of them, but it does say that Booker T agreed to do a video. And for some reason, I think Vlad TV said he was late to the studio, and this will cause Booker T not to do the interview. But I will say this, to this day, this was back in 2020. If you guys look at the messages, 2025, which is what, approximately 5 years later, or 4.5 to 5 years later, we have still not seen any archives, anything released of Booker T doing an interview with Vlad TV. So Booker T probably did agree to do the video. Maybe he changed his mind for whatever reason. That's all alleged. I'm just going off what I read here. But I will say Booker T, he really stood on business with Swerve. He was very upset and disappointed that Swerve would come at him this way, and that all he ever did was trying to be positive and try to set Swerve into a positive way, never say anything bad about him, up until this point where Swerve approached him, talked about him, I should say, And Booker T responded. He approached me in person, like he said, and that's all the way it came down to. But I do agree with Booker T. It shouldn't have got out of hand to this magnitude. Shouldn't even went this far, because it's just like they always do, put two black men against one another, and that's the last thing we do need as a culture. But that's all I have for Booker T class back at Swerve Strickland. You guys let me know what you think of the whole thing of Booker T responding to Swerve Strickland. Check out the content here with Toxic Ring Scandal, a.k.a. KDH. Until then, guys, you already know what it is. It's OUT.